Welcome to HB Reddit Stories. Today we will see stories of r/am I the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for refusing to attend my sister's no kids family gatherings because I'm the only one with children? I'm the only one in my family with kids, two young ones, ages 4 and 6. My siblings don't have children, and my parents are retired. Recently, my sister moved into a new house and decided she's hosting family gatherings with a new rule: no kids allowed. She claims her house isn't kid-proof and wants more relaxed events. She framed it like she's doing everyone a favor, but let's be honest, it's just my kids, so this rule is clearly aimed at me. It's hurtful because these are family dinners and holiday get-togethers we've always celebrated together as a family. Now suddenly, my kids aren't welcome. What bothers me most is how this will affect my children. My 6-year-old adores his extended family, and if he finds out he's being excluded, it would break his heart. I'm worried he'll never get over it. How do I explain to him that he's not wanted at these family events? It could create a rift between him and the rest of the family. He's sensitive, and I don't want him growing up thinking he's not important. When she told me about her no kids rule, I said I wouldn't attend if my kids weren't invited. She accused me of overreacting, but if this becomes the norm, what happens for holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas? Am I supposed to leave my kids at home every time? The rest of my family is siding with her, telling me to just go along with it and leave the kids at home for a few hours. My parents, who don't have grandkids from my siblings yet, think it's no big deal. They're even pressuring me to cut my sister some slack since she had a tough time buying her house. But where's the consideration for me and my kids? To top it off, my other sibling, who's child-free, said, "Maybe this is good for you, you could probably use a break." Great advice from someone who's never had to juggle parenting while trying to stay connected to family. Am I the a-hole for refusing to attend her gatherings and calling her out? I feel like I'm being forced to choose between being part of my family or being a parent. Top comments. Actually, I'm going with no a-hole here, but listen to my reasoning. When no one of your extended family is even mildly against this, then there is a message here: whatever you're usually doing with your kids at family gatherings isn't working for the others. Yes, kids are kids, kids can be a little much, they're just happy to see everyone, parenting is hard etc. whatever, we've heard it all. Nobody likes their parenting criticized, but that doesn't mean every criticism is unfounded. If you can be honest on yourself on that, you might be able to have an open conversation with your relatives about it and reach a different solution which doesn't exclude the kids in principle. You're NTA for not leaving your kids alone on major holidays, but if it's like I feel it is, the others are NTA either. Not the a-hole based on your POV. But, as someone who doesn't have kids, I'll tell you that saying "my house isn't child-proof" is code for I don't feel like you control your children. Maybe talk to mom and see if there's an issue you're not noticing with your kids' behavior away from home. Info: is your sister the only person hosting family events? What about the rest of your family including you? Do the rest of you host, and if so, are those events child-free? I don't see an issue if your sister hosts an occasional child-free dinner or event at her house and for your kids to be watched by another relative or babysitter. They're not going to feel left out because mom and dad occasionally go out by themselves. And it would be good for you to have some adult-only time. I do think family holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas should include the kids, so either your sister is able to make exceptions for those holidays or they can be hosted at someone else's house who doesn't have a child-free rule. Info: alright, we need to dig a little deeper here. The fact that your entire family is backing your sister's no kids rule has me wondering, are your kids a handful? Are we talking Bart Simpson level pranks, Eric Cartman level sass, or something else entirely? Do you have a close friend who can be blunt with you about this? Someone who can give you the real, unfiltered truth? Because if your kids are the rowdy ones or, heaven forbid, the smelly ones, that could explain why your sister felt the need to implement a no kids policy and why everyone else is okay with it. Look, it's one thing for kids to be a little hyper or restless at a family gathering, but if your sister went so far as to make a house rule, there might be more to this story. It's possible she didn't want to hurt your feelings by saying it outright, so she went with a blanket ban. Before jumping to conclusions, maybe have an honest chat to see if there's something your family hasn't told you. That way, you're not left in the dark, and your kids aren't being excluded for reasons that could be addressed. Info. Your sister is hosting kid-free gatherings. Is there any evidence, beyond that any of these fears will happen? Is there any evidence that people are planning to have holidays like Christmas be kid-free? Is there any evidence that gatherings run by other people will be kid-free? That your sister wants gatherings not in her home to be kid-free? That this is the only way for your kids to spend time with their family? That's a lot of leaping to conclusions. Info. We need to know exactly what she said and how she phrased it. Did she say holidays, such as Christmas, will be kid-free if held at her house? And of course you wouldn't tell your 6-year-old anything of the sort. You'd need to cover it up with a little lie while he is this young and make arrangements for him to see your parents at other times. The fact that your parents, the grandparents, are on board with no kids makes me think there are missing reasons here. Next story. Am I the a-hole for embarrassing my friends by correcting my drink order? I, 22F, don't drink for personal reasons, but I love the taste of piña coladas. I recently went out to eat at Outback Steakhouse with 2 friends and saw piña koala on the menu. It was described as a cocktail version of a piña colada with a koala on it. When the server came, I asked if they could possibly make a virgin piña koala, and she said she'd ask the bar. A few minutes later, someone from the bar came over and said, "Here's a virgin version of the drink," and put it on the table. It was not a piña koala. This was a tall pink drink with a koala rubber duck on it. I later figured out this was their other, koala-themed drink. She had already left before I could process that I got the wrong drink. I looked at it again and said aloud to my friends, "This isn't a piña colada." One of my friends responded with, "It's okay, at least you got a drink." I shook my head and expressed that I ordered a piña colada and that's what I was expecting. My other friend shook their head in response, saying, "They went through the pain of making the drink virgin for you. Just be grateful." I said that I was going to correct them because it wasn't what I ordered. My friends went back and forth with me for a while, insisting that it would be completely rude and unnecessary of me to correct them. They even suggested I just try the drink and only correct them if the drink was awful. I'll admit I did try a sip of the drink and it was good in its own right, but I wanted a piña colada. They kept reiterating how the bar went through the trouble of going out of their way to make a virgin drink for me, so I should just be happy they even did that. Finally, the server arrived and I corrected my order, ignoring my friends. The server was very kind and apologized and had the bar make me a virgin piña koala. My friends were so annoyed and irritated with me the whole night. They insisted I was being a Karen and should have just stayed quiet. They said I embarrassed them with my entitlement. I just continued to ignore them. The end of the night was awkward and I've been thinking about this incident for a few days now. I normally struggle to correct my orders, so being able to do so was a big step for me, but I still wonder if my friends were right and I should have been grateful to receive anything. Am I the a-hole? Top comments. Not the a-hole. It's not entitlement, is getting what you ordered. Making a virgin drink is no more complex than making one with alcohol in it. It's all about liquids and proportions. I guarantee you that if they had ordered steak and got a bowl of soup, or if they ordered a Dyson from Amazon and got an AliExpress special, they'd have said something fairly robust about it. I really wonder whether someone changed your order to include one with alcohol and you ruined their prank. If you didn't know how it was meant to taste, you would find it harder to know if it was virgin. There's too much emotion involved for it to be solely about sorting out an incorrect order. As long as you didn't shriek like a tea kettle, you're good. Asking politely for what you actually ordered isn't being a Karen. Your friends are wrong. Not the a-hole. Yes, you acted entitled because you were entitled to get what you ordered. That's why it's called an order and not a wish upon a star. Of course, people, including servers, do sometimes make mistakes, and part of not being an a-hole is not being nasty about it. But that doesn't mean you have to take whatever they give you. It means you address the matter politely, and they in turn politely fix the problem. And it seems like that's exactly what you and the server did. Not the a-hole. Your friends are, and especially so if they know what you're struggling with. The pain of making a virgin drink. Yes, because it's so much work to not include an ingredient as they prepare a beverage. Not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not letting my inheritance be used for my step and half siblings when I'm not going to college? I, 17M, won't be going to college after high school, and instead I'm going to learn a trade. I feel like it works better for my skills and generally would be a better job for me. My mom isn't super happy about it, but she knows college has been pushed on me for almost 2 years and my mind hasn't changed. So she's accepted that she won't change my mind and nobody will. Here's why my post is here. My dad died when I was 6. When he was 9, my grandmom, his mom, died, and it was due to medical negligence/malpractice, and my grandpa, uncle, and dad were awarded compensation, a huge amount too, for her death. Granddad split it between my dad and uncle. He was working and received social security benefits for them because grandmom died and he knew she'd want them to be taken care of above everything. When my dad realized he was sick, he made sure that money would go to me, his only kid. He set it up in a trust and left my granddad and uncle in charge of it. The money is a lot. Like, I could easily be debt-free going to college with it and have some left over if I was smart about it. My mom knew about the money but cannot access it. My mom has been married to her husband for 9 years. My parents were separated when dad died, by the way. Her husband has a son who's a year younger than me and has a medical condition. My mom also has 2 kids with her husband/my half-siblings. Because of my stepbrother's medical condition and his mom not being in his life or his mom's family, they don't really have any savings for his college anymore. They had to spend it for some medical stuff, and my half-siblings have nothing either. My mom and her husband think that since I have the money and won't be using it for college, I should give it to my stepbrother and half-siblings and let them pay it back if I insist, but that I could also just give it to them as a way to help them with their futures and be a good brother. I said no, and I told them I wouldn't change my mind. Mom asked why, and I said it's my inheritance from my dad. I could buy a house with it. I could protect my future with it. I could save it for my future kids. But I don't want to risk it not being paid back when it was Dad's way of securing my future. She told me he'd want me to do this, and I asked her if she really thinks he'd want the money he got from losing his mom to be used on random kids that aren't me. She told me they're not random to me, so yes. She believes he'd want me to be a good brother. She told me I should really give it more consideration. Am I the a-hole? Top comments. Not the a-hole. Congratulations on protecting yourself and your future. You have considered your mother's request and your answer is still no. If you lend them money, you won't be able to get it back without suing them. If they can borrow from you, then they can borrow educational funds in other ways. You shouldn't be their only source of funding. They will take your money and pretend like it was a gift. Make sure your grandfather and uncle are aware of the situation and your plans so your mother can't go behind your back. Unfortunately, sometimes people act this way when large amounts of money are involved. Good luck with trade school and your future. Not the a-hole. It is not your responsibility to provide for your stepfather's child or for your half-siblings. Your mother is being disgustingly greedy, trying to guilt you into taking care of her responsibilities. If I were to be brutally honest, it was irresponsible of your mother to procreate with a man who couldn't support the child he has even once, much less twice. Could you go stay with your grandfather or uncle? Opie replies. My mom would never let me go, and I could see her causing problems if I did. So I'll stay until I'm 18. No, your dad wouldn't want you to do this. He intentionally set up the trust for you alone, so her plan would never happen. You would never get that lent money back. Your dad left you a tremendous gift for a head start in life, no matter how you use it. Honor him and his wishes. Not the a-hole. Edit. I just reread the post and noticed your mother said to give it to your step/half-siblings and they can pay it back if you insist. Holy crap, the gall of this woman. Opie replies. I want to. I think it means more knowing it came from a shared experience. He lost his mom young and I lost him young. Neither of us wanted to lose our parent to get the money, but it's more valuable because of it. Not the a-hole. This is your inheritance, given to you by your father to secure your future, not anyone else's. It's incredibly unfair for your mom to pressure you into using it for your step and half-siblings, especially when that money is meant to help you in life, whether for trade school, buying a house, or other personal goals. You're being smart by protecting it, and your father left it to you for a reason. Helping them is not your responsibility, and it's wrong for anyone to guilt you into giving up something that was meant for you. Stay firm, It's your future on the line. OP replies. My dad knew what it was like to lose a parent really young, so that's why he was so careful with leaving the money to me. My mom putting this kind of pressure on me sucks, but I guess it's not a huge surprise. She's still kind of bitter that dad didn't leave her in charge of the trust. I'd bet this is why though. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to give my younger cousin my college fund because she needs it more? I, 24F, graduated college 2 years ago, thanks in large part to a college fund that my parents had been saving for me since I was little. I feel incredibly fortunate for that, and I worked hard to make the most of it by getting good grades and finishing on time. My younger cousin, 20F, on the other hand, dropped out of college last year after failing a few courses. Now she's planning to go back, but the issue is that she used up a good chunk of her own college fund during her first attempt. Recently, my aunt and uncle, her parents, came to me and asked if I'd be willing to give my cousin what's left of my college fund to help her go back. I had some money left over because I got a scholarship during my last year, so there's still a decent amount sitting in that account. I told them that I wasn't comfortable doing that. I've been saving that leftover money for grad school or maybe to put towards a house one day, and I don't feel like it's my responsibility to give it up just because she didn't finish school the first time. Now, my cousin and her parents are upset with me. My cousin says she needs it more, and that I'm being selfish for not helping her out when I had my entire education paid for. My aunt and uncle think I should give her the money because it's just sitting there, and they don't want her to take out loans. I get that student loans are tough, but I worked hard for my degree and saved that money for my future. I don't think I should be guilted into giving it up. Am I the a-hole for refusing to give my cousin the rest of my college fund? Top comments. Not the a-hole. If the account isn't just in your name, make sure whoever else is on it knows you said no. You don't even have to give a reason. Better yet, if you can, transfer it to your own savings. OP replies. That's a really good point. The account is in my name, but I think it's a smart move to transfer the money to a different savings account just to avoid any issues. I appreciate the advice, definitely something I'm going to look into. Not the a-hole, no participation trophies in real life. She needs to put on her big girl pants and figure life out. The fact that her parents coddled her and let her get away with stuff and want you to make it all better says a lot about them also. OP replies. Thank you. I've been feeling like I'm the bad guy here, but you're right, sometimes people need to face the consequences of their own actions. It feels like they're all expecting me to just fix this for her, but that's not fair to me. I appreciate the support. Not the a-hole. Your family is. I can't believe the entitlement of some people. It's your money. You do with it as you see fit. OP replies. Thank you. It's been hard dealing with the pressure from my family, but hearing someone else call it out helps me feel more confident in my decision. It really is my money, and I shouldn't feel bad about using it for my own plans. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share and subscribe the channel HB Reddit Stories.